Hi guys, welcome back to Red Flag Radio F1 YouTube channel. We are here for the part 2 of our mid-season driver ratings. We had some contrasting opinions in part 1, a few surprises with plenty of debate about the first 10 drivers. If you haven't seen the part 1 yet, make sure you check it out, you will love it. But now the real fun begins. It's time to dive into the remaining 11 drivers, and we have to start with the ones battling at the front, chasing wins and the ultimate prize, the World Championship. And there's no better place to start than with the man who has been near perfect all season. You know who I am talking about, Oscar Piastri. What are your views? How do you see his season going?
Dude, okay. Oscar Piastri, 69 out of 10. Next driver. But
That's sorted. Easier.
no, I'm just kidding. Although, when you said that it's been a near perfect season, that did sort of capture my sentiment of the reasoning behind what I'm about to give him as a rating. And to that effect, it is not a 10. I'm gonna be honest. Spoiler alert, it's not a 10. But it was very difficult to not give him a 10 as well. The fact that he has won so many races, I mean, he's won China, Bahrain, Spa, he's won Jeddah as well, and a few more that I don't even remember, but he's won so many races. I mean, I'm looking at my notes right now, I'm looking at the first place finishes for the races so far, and it's just a sea of orange. And more than a sea of orange, it's the fact that Oscar was the surprise backstab which no one expected. So, first of all, he gets credit for that. Secondly, just the fact that he aura farms every season, every race. Like after every race he wins, he just doesn't say anything, he just quietly basks in the glory of his victory. So that is cool as fuck, man. That is very, very cool. But to be completely objective and talk about his performance, the fact that he's won all these races in a very spectacular and convincing fashion. He's performed overtakes on Verstappen. He's made a fool out of Verstappen. The famous overtake where he faked his move and caused Verstappen to go in deep and lock up. That's just beautiful. And also the fact that he consistently also catches Lando off guard. And therefore, I have glazed him enough. My rating for him is a very good and hearty 9.5 out of 10, especially since he managed to make sure he finishes in the points every single race so far.
Absolutely, man. I think there's no better way to sum up his season like the way you did. Every point is covered. He had his 6 wins, 4 poles, 12 podiums, points in every race, and like how you mentioned how he recovered in Australia was phenomenal. Even though it was P9, he was like P11, P12. He had to make some amazing moves. His move on Hamilton was sensational, especially it was a last lap overtake during the mixed conditions, and he was that driver who was trying to get as many positions as possible at that moment. But after that, he has been a man on mission, man. He's getting those wins. Like, he's trying to collect all the Pokemons that are possible, that are available in this world. And he has been doing it so well, man. And like you said, this was the season where we thought that this could be Lando Norris season. And Oscar Piastri may play that team game. But you know how Oscar Piastri is, how he responds, and how he showed, this is my season. I am the number one now. That's how he has played this season, man, and it has been phenomenal. And I feel the rating which you gave is pretty spot on. It could have been 10, but I feel the Australia mistake is the reason why even I won't give it a 10, but it's very close to 10, not gonna lie. And therefore, I can't believe it. We will start on the same rating. I have also written 9.5 for Oscar Piastri just because he has been wonderful. He has been inch perfect and he has been fighting like a man on mission. And he's showing that he's the one who wants to win this championship. But the next half would be critical because the driver we are trying to cover is coming back slowly and slowly. And we are talking about Lando Norris, man. How do you see his season overall, man? Because this would be, I think, the interesting part which we will cover now.
Dude, again, sadly the thing is, in the pursuit of being objective, I must accept the fact that Lando is not perfect. And forget perfection. He's actively self-sabotaging more often than not. I mean, he's managed to not bottle his starts more often than not. I mean, in Hungary he did bottle it a little bit, but it's the fact that, the problem with Lando this season is that he's making a comeback, but he's putting himself in a position where he's required to make a comeback. That's the problem. He has the tools and he has the talent to fight Oscar at the very top, but he's put himself in a position where his back is against the ropes and he's having to fight with his back to the ropes, and that's what really robs me of some of the joy of supporting McLaren, because on one hand we have someone who's performing surgery every single race, and on the other hand it looks like someone trying to dismember limbs with a hacksaw. So it's just not clean from Lando. He's talented. So that being said, an amazing performance in Monaco, a great comeback in Hungary, a beautiful performance in Silverstone as well. But if I'm being completely honest, a very justified and bordering on lenient rating for Lando would be 8.5 out of 10. Because again, the bottom line is that he jeopardizes his own races, and then he's forced to make a comeback under pressure. And then if you're saying, oh, Lando handled his pressure well, he came back and he fought from P5 and he won the race in Hungary, why did he have to fall back to P5, man? He could have just, even if he had not fucked up a little bit, he had just retained his position at P3, life would have been easier for him. So you're not gonna give someone credit for purposely or even accidentally ruining their own race and then making a comeback. That's just not the right metric of measuring someone's talent.
True, man. I feel this has been a roller coaster ride for Lando Norris, in all honesty. Like, if we start with Australia, man, it was phenomenal the way he started with no mistakes. Every driver was struggling to find that grip. And during that start, we said that probably Lando Norris will lose some places because it was a rainy Sunday and he started from P1, and historically he was losing places at first lap. But he was able to answer those critics in the best possible way to get maximum points, and your rival just got 2 points as he finished P9. So that was the perfect start. And after that, what you have to do? Maintain that position, be consistent, get those as many points as possible, because the pressure is on the other driver. And what he did? He started moving backwards. I remember China's sprint was horrible, where he was just losing positions. He was nowhere to be seen. But still, it's like he was doing the job, but not at Oscar's level, because Oscar came back so strong. He was winning the races, which in a way he thought that he really needed to, because he lost some crucial points in Australia. But Lando Norris, what was the best possible scenario for Lando Norris is just to be there in a way. So he was getting like second, third, whatever way. I feel Lando is doing much better now. The in-between phase was very harsh on him. And I think probably Monaco was the race which brought him back. But then Canada happened. Canada was a bit messy, to say the least. And it was not a DNF. He was classified P18, but still, it could have been much better. But taking the whole season in context, he has done at least the bare minimum which was needed from his end, because he had the tools. He got 5 wins compared to Oscar's 6 wins. He got 4 poles compared to Oscar's 4 poles as well. He got 12 podiums compared to Oscar's 12 podiums. And he's very close to Oscar Piastri on points as well. And that's the reason why I will give him a 9 instead of 8.5, because he's still fighting for that championship. He still had his moments. He got his sprint win as well in Miami, which Oscar Piastri yet to win any sprint race, which is fair. It's not something a big thing, but still, I have to give some credit to Lando Norris, because he's still fighting for this championship. But he really needs a solid second half if he wants to win this championship. But we have to talk about the story, which has been the perfect headline, especially in Silverstone, and the team who is doing a phenomenal job now. They are on that trot to bring that comeback era and be maybe P5 in the standings. We are talking about Sauber boys now. We are talking about Nico Hulkenberg, man. His first podium in Silverstone, his first podium in Formula One, man. What a job it was, man. And this would
Dude, I
be another
genuinely
interesting
get
case.
goosebumps when I think about Hulkenberg's performance in Silverstone specifically. Not that I want to discount the performances he put up 3 or 4 races leading up to Silverstone, because he was consistently scoring top 10 points. So, dude, yeah, just one of the most sensational and surprising stories of this year. I think the scriptwriter was understanding that it's getting boring, so he was like, yeah, it. McLaren does very well, and Sauber does even better somehow. But
Yeah.
if we're talking about a very net and a very average performance amongst all qualifying sessions and all race sessions, you would be mistaken to not point out the fact that Nico Hulkenberg's qualifying performance is pretty bad. I'm
Yeah.
not gonna mince my words here, it is pretty shit. We
Yeah.
consistently see him get knocked out in Q2, if not Q1.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, somehow he makes that work. I think I don't know what kind of self bet he is going on with himself, that I'll qualify 20th and then I'll win the race. I don't get it. Somehow he manages to score points, and fucking Britain was P19 or P18 to P3. That was on
Yeah.
another level. So
Yeah.
that is crazy, but that's why if you average it out, I think the only justified rating for him is a 9 on 10, not 9.5, because again, qualifying is not that good, but his race performance is more than good enough. Even if he doesn't score points every single race, it's still a fucking Sauber, man. The fact that he scores points is a miracle in itself. Sauber has been all for like 4 years now. The fact that they even
Exactly.
touch the podium is a heavenly cosmic miracle.
Yeah, man. They had to wait for like 13 years to make that happen. And it has been a crazy story to say the least, man. No one expected that to happen. We have been saying for years that let Nico Hulkenberg get that podium. But the Sauber was the last team we thought that it could be possible. And it happened, man. And from out of nowhere, he started from P19 and finished P3. Like, the script writers couldn't have done a better job there. And not only the result in Silverstone, I remember his result in Spain where he got P5,
Yeah.
which was phenomenal. Even in that race, also, he didn't start, he was not in, I think, top 10.
Yeah.
And just to put some perspective about his qualifying part as well, because as you mentioned, his average qualifying position is 16.14. That's worst among drivers who have taken part in full season. And his best qualifying position, can anyone guess? I won't keep this a suspense, but it's P12 in China. So when it comes to racing, I don't know, his racecraft, his mentality, his bets, like you said, it goes on another level, that he needs those results because he got 5-point finishes, and that's not easy when your best qualifying position is P12. There could be that one side of me which also says that if he would have qualified better, there were more cases where he could have gotten more points for Sauber. I'm not saying the results would have changed for maybe Silverstone or Spain, because he was able to get in those situations because he tried something different, because he's starting way behind. And that's the reason why I will give him an 8.5 and not 9, just because of his qualifying positions. Although he's ninth in standings and he got 37 points, which is phenomenal.
It's just mad respect for him for not giving up that mentality of being on that podium. And that respect
Yeah.
forces me to give him that extra half. It's probably a leniency thing. I probably should not be giving him that on just stats alone, but it is what it is. But let's move on to his teammate, who's been amazing in his own right. I mean, Helmut Marko, man. Bortoleto has been
Yeah.
great. So, I think we want to pick up this conversation from our previous video, which is the conversation about the rookie of the season. Now, Hajar and Antonelli have their own arguments. So, accordingly, so does Bortoleto. Now, the fact that Antonelli has a Mercedes and Bortoleto has a Sauber makes a difference. So that's why we must consider this conversation in complete isolation. How are they performing with regards to the tools at their disposal? And if that is how we're truly going to measure the driver performance, Bortoleto is definitely in contention for Rookie of the Year, because he has been showing up and pulling out points in the recent 5-6 races for sure, when Hulkenberg has not been. But more importantly, he is crazy good in qualifying sessions. I think
Yeah,
the exact problem that Hulkenberg has, the exact solution is Bortoleto. Somehow he
exactly.
finds a way to make Q3 appearances quite often. And he may not necessarily get the points associated with his qualifying position. So for example, he may qualify 6th or 5th or 7th, but he may get 10th place and only 1 point. But that still means that he put himself so far ahead during qualifying that in the race distance, when his car's dog shitness comes alive, the green tractor shows its true characters, he's still able to score points because he did a very good job in qualifying.
Yeah,
And that's why, given that he is also in a green tractor, now granted, Sauber has had a great upgrade path so far, but still, it's a tractor. Trust me, it's a tractor. So, yeah, that being said, Bortoleto also gets a very solid 9 out of 10, because he is not supposed to be doing these things.
yeah, I get it. What were your ratings though for Hajar and Antonelli? I think you have pretty
I,
much told your own driver of the season, or I should say rookie driver of the season so far.
I think for Hajar and Antonelli, both my rating was 8.5 if I remember correctly. It's because they have better tools, but they're doing great, no doubt.
Yeah.
But it's somehow the fact that their tools are considerably better than Bortoleto, and they're not as consistent, given that all
Yeah.
three are rookies.
Absolutely, man. It's unbelievable that the rookie drivers which we have got this season are so talented. And Gabriel Bortoleto is no less. And I still remember my Australian Grand Prix preview, and I said it out loud that I think Gabriel Bortoleto will be the young rookie driver of the season. And so far, he has been doing so well. He had no tools to show, and still he was able to qualify in, like, he was part of Q3 for I think 3 times, which is phenomenal. And when Nico Hulkenberg was struggling on that one lap pace, Gabriel Bortoleto was always there to show that I have the tools to handle that part. I can extract the maximum performance. And in some cases, those were some big upsets where we saw some big drivers getting out in Q2, but Gabriel Bortoleto was able to manage that part where he qualified in Q3. So phenomenal stuff on that one lap pace at least. But there were some races where he was a bit messy as well. You remember Monaco where he was involved in that crash with Antonelli. So maybe it was just young drivers fighting hard. And when we discount the part where Hulkenberg is not performing on Saturday and bringing points on a Sunday, he's also now more comfortable. He's getting that grip and he's able to fight. His fight in Hungary was absolutely sensational. The way he drove against Max Verstappen and even Fernando Alonso. Even Fernando Alonso didn't flinch. That is a different story, but he was fighting really hard with his mentor. And that has been the story of this season. I remember in Jeddah also, they almost crashed into each other. But still, man, we have to take the account that this is his rookie season and he has been doing phenomenally well. I have to give it an 8 to Bortoleto just because he's 17th in standings compared to Nico Hulkenberg 9th in standings. 8 is still a very good rating because I gave Antonelli 8 and Hajar 7.5. So all three rookie drivers are very close to each other. So moving on to the team who is getting the spotlight for all the wrong reasons. The team which we thought should have done better from what they are doing. It's like a one-man show. And probably you are thinking Alpine, but we are talking about the other team who has been performing so bad. It's Red Bull, and we have to start with Max Verstappen, who is like carrying this team on his shoulders, considering all the drama happening at the back end, where Christian Horner is also removed from this team. But still, Max Verstappen got 2 wins, 4 poles, 1 sprint win in Belgium, and I don't even want to talk about his head-to-head record against the drivers who have been trying to salvage something from that car. Maybe this car is how Max Verstappen wants, but even in interviews he says that this is not the car he wants, because let's be honest, even Max Verstappen is struggling in some races. So it has been a crazy season to say the least, and he is the defending world champion. And sometimes it gets heartbreaking to see that we are not seeing that defending world champion fighting hard for that championship. At this point, he's just fighting for those moments where he can be on podium at least, because he got like 5 podiums, 5 out of 14 races.
See, the thing is, Red Bull falling apart at the seams is its own can of worms. But that has, of course, affected Verstappen's performance, and that is the underlying context we must provide. Because some of the viewers may think that the rating I am about to give, at least, is too high for Verstappen, given that he's only had 2 wins and 5 podiums, as you said. But given that there is so much garbage going on the inside, the fact that he even got 2 wins is commendable, to say the least.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Especially tracks like Suzuka and Imola. I mean, Imola was a little bit boring, not gonna lie. Say, so was Suzuka, but it is the fact that he still managed to do well. He still managed to race and win. It wasn't handed to him for free. It wasn't because the McLarens had a double DNF or the Mercedes had a double DNF or anything like that. Just pure merit. And the sprint win as well, and all his pole positions as well. He is somehow dragging that absolute dog shit navy blue tractor in places where he's not supposed to. And we said this about a lot of other drivers as well, but Max is doing it on another level. And
Yeah.
therefore, with all this world building and context building, Verstappen deserves a very good 9 on 10, because he is doing things that physics prohibit. He's defeating the laws of physics to bring that car to places where he can get some points, and he somehow still managed to remain P3 in the Drivers' Championship.
Absolutely, man. Phenomenal stuff so far for Max Verstappen, because it's not easy to drive that car. Still, man, it has been a crazy season for Max Verstappen. But there were some mistakes as well. Let's not forget that. We remember how weirdly that Spanish Grand Prix went for him, where he lost the car. He just went into Russell. It was a different race to say the least, but still he got points in that race as well. So the races which he finished, he was able to get those points. And again, credit where it's due, he has been one of the best drivers for I think 5 seasons to say the least. So, but still, taking all the things in context, I think it's the rating which you gave is absolutely fair, and that's the same rating which I will give. I think 9 is bang on. It could have been a 9.5 or 10 as well, if those 1-2 mistakes that happened, maybe in Austria where he was not in fault, but still he couldn't show the part. There were cases which we didn't see. So, and not to forget his sprint win in Spa, it was phenomenal as well, where he took the advantage in that lap 1 and was able to control that pace.
Yeah.
So amazing stuff by Max Verstappen. 9 is also just because the standards he has set up for himself. I think that's the reason as well, because he has been the best driver of this generation.
Very rightly said, it would have been a 9.5 if not for, I think, Miami, where Oscar forced a mistake out of Max. That, Spanish GP, and Britain also.
Yeah.
I mean, Oscar did fuck him up real bad with his brake checking move. Oscar is at fault for that, but then the way Verstappen restarted the race, the frustration was visible. He was way too early on the throttle, and that caused him to spin. So it is those couple of mistakes, and we can even discount him locking up when Oscar was trying to overtake him for the lead. Even if we discount that, the two very fair and square mistakes are the Spanish GP and the British GP. And it is due to that he doesn't get a 9.5. But let's talk about his teammate Yuki Tsunoda, because he has
No glazing.
Yeah, no glazing. He has been better than Lawson, and I mean, to be fair, in anything he does is better than Lawson, because he's just not got enough. Lawson just didn't get enough chances. So a third chance for Yuki Tsunoda already puts him at a better position than Lawson. But we'll ignore that part. He had some glimpses of hope once he qualified P9 or P8 or something like that during his first couple of races with the Red Bull. And then steadily the Red Bull has dropped off. To be fair, the upgrade packages have not worked out. Verstappen's performance shows that, because in Hungary he finished P7th or something like that. So that is a shit car. There is no doubt about that. We don't need to repeat this anymore. This is the case for this season now, and I don't think it's gonna change. And that's why UK has not done anything special, but he's also not done anything wrong in my opinion. Given his tools, he's surviving. He's doing the bare minimum in my opinion. So I think it's a 7 on 10 for me.
7. You gave Russell a 7.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of hate Russell as well. So
Oh my god. Oh, I was not expecting a 7 for Yuki Tsunoda, man. Jesus.
dude, my justification is very simple. He's doing all to impress us, but he's also not making very catastrophic mistakes. Given that the car is shit, the mistakes that are coming are natural.
I don't know, man. I think what I will throw here is probably maybe surprise you as well, but it has been a disastrous season for Yuki Tsunoda, man. It's not even about the tools. Okay, probably some reason I have to give to tools as well, because Red Bull is a very dog shit car. We have been saying this for a million times now. But dude, Yuki Tsunoda is not doing anything to say that probably he's justifying or showing at least something he's getting out of that car. Like, it has been mediocre to say the least. Like, you are not getting that spotlight because you're starting from last in every race. Like, legit every race, if I have to think of. Yes, he got 6 qualifying, 3 appearances as well, but nothing to show. Like 4-point finishes and one with Racing Bulls, which he drove, I think, for 2 races. But 3-point finishes with Red Bull and not showing any pace. Like, in most races, he started from pit lane just because he didn't qualify well. 18th in driver standings. 18th. Maybe there was some unfortunate moments, like his crash with Gasly in Saudi. That was unfortunate. I don't think it was his fault, or some strategy gambles, or say wrong place, wrong time. But he's the reason why he was at wrong place at wrong time, and probably those reasons did cost him some crucial points. Because 18th in standings, even if it's a Red Bull car, I don't think that's acceptable by any means. I think this will be the lowest rating I will give to anyone, and that's a 3.5. This is very low, but I feel that's a justified rating. It's not about even tools. That's
Dude,
not the stand.
be that as it may, 3.5 is way too harsh for me, because it's just the fact that they have the Red Bull tag that I think biases a lot of people's opinions.
Maybe.
But if you remove the Red Bull tag, and I'm just saying visually, the exact same car mechanically, but paint it white and put the Haas livery on it, and then if Yuki does the performance he has been doing, people will be like, oh of course it's a Haas, of course he's gonna do bad. It's just the Red Bull brand image that is making Yuki look bad. But let's move on to Haas, since we were talking about Haas right now, and then let's open up the conversation with Ollie Bearman itself, because he is the last remaining rookie who has some semblance of performance in him. I mean, there is no point in talking about Doohan or Colapinto, even when we do get to Alpine, because they've just done all. But yeah, sticking to Bearman, he has been doing well. Before Hungary, the 4 races prior to Hungary, he scored P11, very close to the points, and that should inspire faith in him, because when he did do that one race with Ferrari where he scored P7 in Jeddah, he showed that if he has, again, it comes down to the equipment. If he has the right equipment, he can fight for points. And we've seen this season that for Hamilton and Leclerc also, P5, P6, P7 are the more common occurrences. So
Yeah.
Bearman is akin to Hamilton's performance right now, except that he's in a Haas and Hamilton's in a Ferrari. And so with that being said, he scored P10 in Japan, a hard-earned P10 no less.
Yeah.
So I think it is very fair if I have rated Antonelli and Hadjar 8.5, but I rated Bortoleto 9. I think if I'm going across that trend, the justified rating for Bearman is also 8.5. Because
Okay.
the only understand in my head there is a graph where the Mercedes is the best performing car, then Racing Bulls, then arguably between Racing Bulls and Sauber, and then the worst performing car is Haas between these four. And in these four, Bortoleto has somehow been the most impressive for me. So that's why he gets a 9. But everyone else, in isolation relative to their own car, gets an 8.5. And therefore, Bearman is an 8.5. It's a little bit lenient. I fully grant you that.
Yeah.
I know it's lenient. But it's a justifiably lenient one. It's not like I'm saying he's a 6.5 and I'm giving him a 9.5.
You know what? I love Ollie Bearman, man. Not only because of his driving, but because he was the first one who saw our page, who saw our story on Instagram. So if you haven't seen our Instagram page, do check out our page and do follow us because we post some crazy shit there as well. But talking about Ollie Bearman, man, I think this is the season where when we talked about all the rookies, Ollie Bearman also comes into that discussion as well, just because he has those tools where it's not one of the best cars or not even a average car to say the least. And in some cases, he extracted some crazy performance from that car. Let's talk about China, where he started from P17 and he was making some amazing overtakes. He was enjoying with his engineer and he was just on those radio calls where he was just enjoying and he finished P8. That's amazing. And not to forget, he got 3 point finishes on a Sunday and one sprint point in Spa as well. But I think there were some lost cases as well where he could have done so much more. Monaco was one race where he lost some crazy positions just because of that 10 place grid drop. He should have been careful there. It was a practice session. There was no need to go fast on that red flag radio. Thanks for promoting our channel. But the sad part was he got 10 place penalty in Monaco and he was looking fast there, man. He could have done so much there and he lost that crucial chance for those points which Haas desperately needs, especially they are fighting at tail end for those points. So that was one case where I felt really bad for him, and the other case is Silverstone as well. Same conditions, same case, another 10 place drop because of that red flag. But still, I think when I gave 7.5 to Hajar and 8 to Bortoleto and Kimi Antonelli, I think I will give a 7 to Ollie Bearman just because of those two 10 place grid penalties.
Yeah, and I get it, man. But
Yeah.
since you mentioned his teammate, let's talk about Esteban Ocon because he has had some amazing performance. And the whole narrative about Haas having this pendulum effect performance comes from Esteban because the
Yeah.
pendulum swings into points when Esteban scores points. He's the one who is making sure that Haas is not dead last, which Haas usually is.
Yeah.
That is, they are there to be the. I mean, someone has to be P10, right? And in the recent history, it's been Haas, but Esteban has been changing that, especially in wet conditions. No less.
Absolutely.
And in the part one of our video, I did mention that training for rainy races is not as commonplace, and therefore, when rain does come, it's a slightly uncomfortable and unknown and outlier situation for a driver. And if you somehow manage to score points then in the dangerous conditions, that just speaks volumes about your own talent as a driver. Granted, I don't like Ocon much as a person. I think he has a very annoying face, but that's a very subjective and a very personal thing. I'm just irritated by his face. It's got nothing to do with his driver performance. But yeah, just thought I'd mention that in case some of our viewers find it agreeable. But yeah, with his performance in mind, my rating for Ocon is a good 9 out of 10.
Fair enough, man. I think that's a very solid rating. Considering he has been driving this well from, I think, the first race. Again, if we have to go back to China, that was the best race for Haas. When we talked about Ollie Bearman who got P8, it was Esteban Ocon who still got the spotlight because he finished P5 in China, which was phenomenal. And recently he got P5 in Belgium sprint as well, which was again amazing. It's like when Ollie Bearman shows some great result, Ocon is there to show that I have a even better result to show, man. And that has been the story of this season, at least for Haas, because in qualifying, Ocon has been behind Ollie Bearman. For viewers who have no idea about that, so the qualifying head to head is 4:9 for 4 for Ocon and 9 for Ollie Bearman. So that one lap pace is missing for Ocon, or I should say it's very close, but still slower than Ollie Bearman. But still, so far, I think when it mattered, he was there, and especially during those rainy conditions, he has performed really well. So 10th in standings with a Haas car, again, phenomenal stuff there. There were some cases where he couldn't show his talent, and probably that's the reason why I will still give him an 8.5 and not 9. But I think 8.5 is also a very good rating for Esteban Ocon because he has been doing really well. Whenever the opportunity came, he was there to pounce on that and get those points which Haas desperately needs in these conditions.
Fair enough, fair enough. I do agree with that, and probably if not 8.5, it would be a 9. If he had scored points in just one or two more races, I think we would be in agreement about that 9 on 10. But let's move on to the final team of our discussion, and I'm sure we're gonna agree about this driver, Gasly, who has been absolutely carrying his team, man. He has arthritis because of how much he has been carrying Alpine. And by the way, before we started recording, we were going over our notes, and instead of saying Alpine, I almost said Gasly. I referred to the whole team as Gasly, and this is not a word of a lie. I actually just referred to the team as Gasly.
It makes sense though.
Exactly, it does make a ton of sense. Every single point that Alpine has come at the hands of Gasly. How the is he doing that?
Exactly.
Granted, Alpine was supposed to be the contender to the midfield leaders, which is Williams, which neither of them are midfield leaders to say the least. They're both utterly garbage. But Alpine is dead last right now, even with Gasly's efforts. So the fact that Alpine does not have 0 points, all props to Gasly. And take a bow, everyone. Gasly is the GOAT for carrying that team. And that's why a easy breezy 9.5 out of 10.
Absolutely, man. It has been an Gasly season, to say the least, for Alpine, because when all the drama is going on behind the scenes to get which driver to support Gasly, they still don't have any answer for that. Because Gasly is carrying this team and he has been phenomenal, man. For that car who should not be close to top 10, he got 7 Q3 appearances.
Yeah.
That's amazing, man. And he got like maybe some crucial points for Alpine, and there was disqualification in China as well where he did score points, if I am not mistaken. And amazing stuff. P6 in Silverstone when it was raining. You know, when it rains, even Gasly finds a way, one way or another, to show that I can do amazingly well. It's unbelievable. But the highlight of the season was when he got P5 in qualifying in Bahrain. P5 in qualifying with Alpine. My God, what this guy is smoking, man. Unbelievable, man, so far. I would have given him a 9.5 as well, in all honesty. But I still remember his Jeddah mistake, and that's the reason why I'm taking that 0.5, and I will still give him a 9. It would have been 9.5 as well, in all honesty, but I think 9 is also absolutely fair. It's the last race as well. I will still say that last race was nothing flashy. He finished behind Colapinto as well, because maybe the standard he has set up, it's amazingly high for him. So it was a very weird thing to see that he finished behind Colapinto. And maybe that's one more reason why I trying to justify my part that he got a 9 rating, but I still think 9 is an amazing rating, and that just shows how amazingly well he's doing in that car, something which other two drivers are not doing. And we will have a very interesting talk about those drivers as well. But
yeah, and since you mentioned the other two drivers, truth be told, there is nothing to dissect. Both of them have 0 points. Both of them had very poor performances. Both of them had no good qualifying performances either. It's not like they have one lap hot pace. and then in the race pace they're tanking it. They've just had nothing. And
Yeah.
that's why I'm just gonna cut straight to the chase here. Doohan gets a 5 out of 10, and Colapinto gets a 4 out of 10 because most likely he's gonna stay with Alpine this season. I think at least those are the rumors. And he got more chances than Doohan, and he's still not done anything. So that's why he loses one more point.
Yeah, man. I gave Yuki Tsunoda 3.5, so I don't think I will be giving both drivers a higher rating. But I still think Jack Doohan deserves a better rating over Colapinto at least, because he didn't get that many races to show.
Exactly.
And he got a better qualifying position at least over Colapinto. I mean, he qualified P11 in Bahrain. So that was one race where I thought maybe one way or another he could get some points. And let's not forget, Jack Doohan was another rookie driver compared to Colapinto, who has driven for Williams for at least 8 races. So he had some experience to show. And just because he's carrying that experience, I think that's the reason why he's getting more races to show that we still trust you. You can probably get some performance from this car and can score. Maybe there were some flashes that were shown in Hungary, but Hungary was such a track for them, and probably there was nothing to show from that car. But still, I think Jack Doohan deserves a 3.5 and Franco Colapinto 3, just because he hasn't shown anything so far and he has been struggling really hard with that car.
Yeah.
But luckily for him, he has more races to show. But if there's even a slightest chance that he wants to drive in 2026 with an Alpine Mercedes engine, he needs to step up. He really needs to step up, because maybe Bottas will get that knock, and who knows what happens in Alpine for 2026. But if there's that minimal chance for him to stay in 2026, I think that's dying after every single race, and he's running out of that time also.
And with that, we come to an end to our drivers' ratings. For all the viewers that want to look at the cumulative score for all the 20 drivers, pause your screens now so that you can get a view of what we think about the drivers leading up to the summer break. Granted, half of the season is remaining, and we may well change our opinions by the end of the season. But as things stand, these are the facts, and they're based on both cold hard statistics as well as driver mentality.
Absolutely, man. From the rookies making their mark to the title contenders delivering jaw-dropping performances, the first half of 2025 has given us everything: drama, surprises, and some serious statements from the grid. If you haven't watched part 1 yet, go check it out to see how we rated the rest of the field, man, and why some of those calls are still causing some debates. But it's your turn. Who do you think has been the driver of the season so far, and who do you think has fallen short? Let us know if you think our ratings were fair, or we were lenient, or we were strict, or maybe there was some partiality as well. But let us know in the comments. Roast us if you want, but we hope that fun is delivered at your end as well, because we love you all and we are moving very close to 500 subscribers as well with your support. But yeah, guys, like we always say, when the drama hits, we are waving the red flag. Goodbye.